What is up, everybody? It's your boy Duty back again with another video, and this time we're taking a look at our boy DSP's daily rap after. Yes, folks, the dent streak is dead. Oh my lord, let's give a round of applause. That's right, folks. That's right, folks. The dent streak is dead, and we have Phil here coping and seething like always. I gotta make a separate video addressing the whole dent streak coming to an end. Our boy Phil just looked pathetic. He really did. And I think it deserves a totally separate video from this. But of course, here we're gonna take a look at the daily rap and see what Phil had to say. So let's do this.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Wrap for what was Monday, the 9th of September, 2024. If you can believe it, my next to last streaming day of the week, because this is a very short streaming week for me because of my work schedule being all over the place recently. And what a day. The ups and downs. Whew. It was all over the place. Allow me to explain. So we started off today with a level 1 podcast that discussed various different topics, but one of the topics was that Low Tier God had made a video responding to my tweet that I had done like a week and a half ago. And I guess it was like a while ago, but no one had sent me the video. I didn't even know about it. So I basically responded to it, and I definitely think you should give it a look. I already clipped out my response, his response, and it would be great if he would, leave his protective bubble and do something outside the box rather than just sit there and play with, games badly with his audience. But I don't know if he's ever going to at this rate. We'll see what happens. Outside of that, relatively tame podcast, because that was really all we talked about, and we hung out for a while.
Oh my god. So I posted a video yesterday about the LTG thing. And I've never seen so much projection in my life. Phil, I don't know what happened. I think Phil may have transplanted his body, his spirit, into another being, into another content creator. Because the way he was speaking, you wouldn't think that was Phil talking. The projection that was going on, just no self-awareness of who the fuck this dude is for the last, 16 years as a content creator. He was describing himself to a T. Every last criticism that he had about LTG was about himself. And he just didn't realize it. He was sitting there and acting like, I can't understand why anyone would do anything this guy is doing. Phil, you have done the same thing and still currently doing most of that. You've done the same thing for the last 16 years, Phil, and refused to fucking adapt and change. And you had the gall to sit here and criticize LTG. I personally don't like LTG. I'm not a fan of LTG, but when it comes to ranking locales, he's on the bottom. He's on the bottom rung. I mean, I don't even think he's even top 10. He's arrogant, he's annoying, but whatever. He does his own thing, and honestly, other than the whole baby mama drama stuff, what else does he really do? He treats people like crap. Whatever. It's par for the course for me. So I really don't care that much about LTG. And comparing LTG to Phil, I'm sorry. That's like comparing Mother Teresa to a $2 hooker, running tricks in Seattle, Washington. There's just no comparison there, Phil. I'm sorry. You are the king of locales. You are locale number 1. Everyone knows you're locale number 1. And the reason why people wanted to give you 50K, aka Keemstar, to be on the podcast was because everyone understands that you are the biggest locale and everyone wants to milk you, Phil. And you have no kind of just self-awareness that that's what people think of you. You really don't understand that the reason why people want to do anything with you is because they want to milk you. They want that content. Now, some people took a different tact of it. Like, for example, what was his name? Who did the video on him? Who did the documentary? Oh man, what is his name? I can't remember his name. The one where he was all upset. A decade of failure. Why am I forgetting this guy's name? Anyway, he took a different tack. He was going to be honest with Phil and say, look, dude, I'm making content so that I can milk you. And maybe you can take some of that content and milk it as well and make some money. He was upfront and honest with Phil. And Phil just didn't like it. Keemstar took that same approach and noticed, okay, that's not working. So this guy needs honey. He needs to be buttered up to do so that people can do so that he could do with work with people. So Keemstar pivoted and started being nice to him and friendly, and that's when Phil opened up and started having a conversation with him. But he just can't realize that people are simply just milking him, whether they're being nice to you or not. Just like the Kino folks. I'm sorry, the Kino folks are just milking you, Phil. And as soon as they're done with you, they're done having fun with you, they're gonna move the fuck on. So you're going to hear those jokes about your fat wife, your horse wife, your roommate. She's breaking everything. She's downstairs crying. You pulling them WWE Hogans. You're going to hear all those jokes back again as soon as they're done milking you. But yeah, you are too dense to realize that, which is the most epic, most funny thing. So let's keep going.
Today, it all went south for Black Myth WuKong. Alright? So I've been playing, I actually looked this up. Black Myth WuKong, I've been playing it for around 24 gameplay hours. Out of those gameplay hours, I'm not kidding you, 12 hours have been in Chapter 3. 12 hours have been in Chapter 3, which is snow and ice, a prison, and then more snow and ice. It's incredibly boring. It's incredibly barren. There's not a lot going on besides a few optional mini-bosses here or there, a lot of which fight exactly like normal enemies anyway. They're not very interesting. And I just wanted it to end, and people kept telling me, don't worry, it's going to end, it's going to end. It took forever, alright? So today, I'm not even kidding you. I do the Level 1 podcast. Now, I haven't played Black Myth WuKong in a week. I finished the podcast, I had 600 viewers. We go to play Black Myth WuKong, a lot of them stick around. But then they realize it's the same shit over and over. It's the same snow, it's the same fucking forest. Oh, look, a temple. An hour of the same looking temple. It's boring as fuck. Enemies are placed willy-nilly, no real setup. Like FromSoft, when they do these legacy dungeons, they set them up with traps, interesting hidden areas. Black Myth WuKong just walk around for 2 hours and explore and try to find random shit, do a random fight here or there that's not fun. Oh, you died, backtrack. It's not well designed. The more I play Black Myth WuKong, the less I like this game. And that's sad, because it started off really good, in my opinion. I just think it degraded down to, I just don't like it anymore. At the end of the day, forget this. By the end of the stream, I could barely hold 300 viewers because it was so fucking boring. I finally get to the final boss of Chapter 3. It's a 3-phase boss. The first phase is like 5 minutes. Then there's a cutscene. It goes to a completely different fight against a different boss. That's another 5 minutes. Then after that, it goes to Stage 3, which is another like 10, 15 minutes. The whole boss fight's over an hour. I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's not supposed to be a boss. It's not supposed to be a fucking movie, right? And it just keeps going and going. The boss sucked. Basically, the boss was designed to have super armor, and you had to charge a move to break through it. It's just like not fun anymore. I'm playing, I'm like, dude, I'm so bored of this game, and the whole audience agreed. And guess what? By the end of the stream, we had lost more than half the audience from the podcast. Everyone was agreeing this game is fucking terrible. It's boring now. And I lost my king streak. The king streak of hitting the goals ended today because the game was so fucking boring. Alright? I couldn't believe it. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. The king streak ended because halfway through the game, they lost all their momentum and don't know what to do with the rest of the game. And that's sad. You know? Even as critical as I've been recently of games like Elden Ring and the like, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, is way better than Black Myth WuKong. It just is. It's got more interesting areas that look different. It's got more variety of enemies. Yeah, it reuses some assets, but it got some really unique fights too. This game, once you get to Chapter 3, it's boring as dirt. And I have absolutely no desire to keep playing it. I'm done with it. I'm serious. Like, I'm done. There's other games I want to play. You know, we got the MVC collection. We've got Astrobot, which I'm playing now. And I have an announcement to make, but I'll announce it in a second. Another game. So I want to play those. I have no desire to fucking keep playing Black Myth WuKong. You know, at this point, too, the hype's died. You know, it was very popular last month, but because of all the shit that went down with me in the last couple of weeks, me having to respond to my documentary, which took a lot of time away, and all this shit, I haven't had enough time to really focus on it, and now I'm only halfway through it. Do you really think I want to play another 25 hours when I'm bored to tears of the game? No. So I'm done with it. Fuck Black Myth WuKong. The first 2 stages are great, and then it falls off a cliff, and it's boring as shit now, and I don't care about the rest of it. And what's funny is, people in chat were like, yeah, just so you know, Chapter 4 arguably is just as bad as Chapter 3. Maybe it's a little better, because it's not as long. But you're just in a cave, you're fighting spiders over and over and over and over. It's the same shit ad nauseum, very boring. And I was like, oh my god, well, I think I'm gonna fucking tap out of this one. The truth is, I played so much FromSoft shit recently. You know, last year, it was Lies of P. Then, earlier this year, it was me doing my second run through Elden Ring. Then we did Another Crab's Treasure. Then we did Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm not kidding you. All of that stuff is better than Black Myth WuKong, in my opinion. The one thing Black Myth WuKong has going for it is the graphics. That's about it. Okay? I'll talk more in depth about this on tomorrow's podcast, alright? But anyway, I'm done with it. And I couldn't believe the king streak ended because of this fucking game basically going right downhill when it hit Chapter 3. I couldn't believe it. So obviously, I'm not upset. Like, I'm not angry. But it's disheartening because it's like, I don't feel like I'm the reason why the streak ended. It's because the fucking game sucked and people left and just hoped that people were going to support because they didn't want to stick around and watch the shitty game. And that sucks, right? There's nothing I can really do about that. So, tonight was Street Fighter 6.
Alrighty, so, oh my lord, the cope and the seething, the feltoning, I guess, of the dent streak. You're pathetic, Phil. You're pathetic. You're actually wage quitting stationary myth WuKong because you didn't get the support you wanted. That's what you're saying here, Phil. You're wage quitting a pretty decent game. It's okay. I've played it a little bit. It's not my favorite game. Yeah, it's not better than Elden Ring. No, it definitely isn't. But it's a pretty decent game. It's worth the $60 that you paid for it. It's not bad. And you're wage quitting it because you didn't, because you're blaming it because it didn't make the 150 you were expecting. Listen to that, folks. Really listen to that. That's very telling. Phil's actually saying that a game, not him, a game would make people not support. I thought people liked you, Phil. What's this 6 weeks been about? It's been about Phil trying to convince the internet that people like him, that the tide has turned, and the whole entire internet, minus his detractors, now like him and want to support him and enjoy his content and enjoy him. Isn't the cope when he doesn't want to wear the vest or the hat is that it's not about tipping for the goals. It's about supporting Phil. It's about liking Phil. And whether Phil wears a hat or silly glasses or a silly vest, it doesn't matter because you're really supporting Phil, not tipping him for the goal. Right? That's what Phil's cope is. Whenever he doesn't want to wear his vest or whatever. Right? Or he tries to phase it out because he knows he looks stupid wearing these ridiculous clothes. That's the cope that you hear from Phil. And now he wants to sit here and blame a fucking game for why the den streak finished. I'm going to tell you the truth why it ended, Phil. It ended because the Velcro wallets dried the fuck up. The disability checks went bye-bye. That's what happened. And for most of the stream, you had at least 500 people there. And most of the people that were there were people that were supporting you. They just didn't have the funds for whatever reason, or they just didn't feel like continuously dropping money on you. Phil doesn't understand that people actually have their own bills. As much as I make fun of the dents and the pay pigs and those folks that support Phil, right? I understand that they have families, some of them. They have responsibilities, some responsibilities. They have something. I mean, somewhere down the line, regardless of how pathetic your life is, you still have some responsibility. You either go to school, you either have a job, you help around at the house, you live in your mom's basement, you at least clean up after yourself. You do something. You have some responsibility. You have to pay for something. Most people have to, unless you're a child, most people have to pay for something. So they kind of have bills and responsibilities, no matter how pathetic they are. Just like Phil. Phil's a pathetic ass person, but we all know he has responsibilities, right? And he acts like none of this exists. He acts like money grows on trees. I don't know. He doesn't understand the concept of managing your money, discretional spending. He doesn't understand any of that. He just thinks that I'm online, so when I'm online, I'm expecting a certain level of support. And if I don't get it, then that's a fucking problem. And you would think after 6 weeks of getting this massive support for Phil, more than he's gotten in years, you would think he would be gracious. But he wasn't. He soaked like a little bitch. He was fucking soaking last night. And during the unrecorded beg segment, which I posted, he was soaking again. And then, of course, he whipped out the old trope of, oh, my detractors are so excited and they're laughing. Let's stick it to them. Literally, that's what he said. And if I get into that right now, this video is going to be 30 minutes long. So I'm going to do a separate video talking about that because I got a lot to say on that. Just the cope and the seething from Phil, the fucking patheticness that comes out of this man's mouth. It's just outstanding. It is. And I just love it listening to it because the man has to jump through so many hoops just to make a logical point. Versus just saying, okay, it's over. Let's move on. Hey, you want to do a den streak? Let's have at it. He doesn't have to do that. He has to try to convince the whole fucking world that the problem isn't him. The problem is the fucking game that most people love. Most people love. And if you listen to Phil's playthroughs, he liked it previously. There were no issues before. But of course, since he only made $60, which, remember, Phil, your goal is $50 a stream, right, Phil? You hit your goal. But of course, now Phil is fucking pushing back the goalposts. He loves to say other people like to push back the goalposts. Phil, this is what you're fucking doing. You're pushing the goalpost back. So you made $60 yesterday and you should be happy. But since you didn't make, excuse me, since you didn't make $150, now that's the problem. Remember I said this a few months back. I said, yeah, I remember this whole nonsense about Phil saying my goal for each stream is to make $50 in tip. If I hit that goal, I'm happy, right? And I told everyone that's just Phil conditioning his dents that $50 is the minimum. That $50 in tips is the minimum, and he's conditioning them to support. And for the most part, that did work. And I said, watch. And eventually what's going to happen is he's going to start conditioning people to make $100 tips as the standard. He'll do it for one stream. He'll say, okay, I want at least $100 for the first stream. If I make $100 in tips for the first stream, I'll be happy. And then he'll use that and condition the dents for a couple months. And then what he was going to do is he's going to push that up to 150. But since, you know, the love and support from the Kino dents came in, and he started getting $150 every stream, he thought, oh shit, I can skip all that. I can skip all that and now move to the $150 tip go per stream. And now that he got it for 41 streams, that's the expectation. That's the expectation. And last night was even better because the boy was just sitting there begging. He was struggling. He made, he was at like $40-something or something. And then one dent came in and dropped like $104 tip or whatever to get him to his $150 tip goal. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be him begging, one dent coming out of nowhere and dropping cash, and him using the detractors as the boogeyman. What, you guys are going to hear Duty's name a lot. You're going to hear Duty's name coming up a lot. I think he did say it. He actually did use my name yesterday. 1 second. Let's see. I believe he did. I believe he actually cut a video yesterday. And I'll get into that in the next video, folks. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace out.